It's October. That means it's time for a layout update. Alright, welcome back everybody on Go Via or Go Home. Like I said, it's October and we're going to do a layout update. I've been pretty busy this past month. As you can see, I was able to finish my Helix. That's right, as you guys saw on my last Third Rail Thursday, I was chipping away at this and I got the rest of the wood and I was able to get all the way to the top from the bottom, cork, track, some paint, and even the wiring. The wiring's all done. Everything on the inside there is all hooked up and all the track is connected to it. So besides adding on a top piece for this back section here, this is all done. And it actually surprisingly works really well. I'm gonna insert a clip right here of a couple of trains going up and down it. Cleaning, as always, is a huge part of doing this and maintaining. Well, I replaced all the garbage and the crap that was here in this section with all the trees that I got from Grand Central Scenics. I'm going to be working on some stuff with the trees, so I wanted to pull out all the ones that I had and, just kind of set them up and whatnot and take a look. So you might see some new trees on the layout. They're not permanent, but, I'm just kind of getting some ideas. You'll also see, mind you, the light is off right now, but I went through my backdrops this past month. I had some from my old layout, and you can see that I actually installed one of my backdrops from my old layout on this layout. This is the sunrise. You guys remember that, right? Well, I managed to get enough together and actually do this entire section. It's a little different from the rest of the layout, but that's okay. It's a whole other scene anyways. And once I have tall buildings and whatnot, it'll just look like a blue sky with some red peeking through, as you can kind of already see, right? Especially with the trees. In the spirit of doing backdrops, I had another piece, and I was able to do this entire section here. And it goes all the way along the back. And it's a good height too, because all these houses here are probably going to get covered up anyways by the buildings. And you'll also notice that I did take some foam and I put a piece right in here to kind of start this whole section. And one of my buildings are already in place. So I'm already starting to work on my industries, which is great. So now that this is in place and the backdrop is there, I can kind of start building it out this way. I'll need to get some switches though for this, so I can build somewhat of a little ladder, and just got a piece of flex track sitting there just for, to kind of see what I can do. But I still got to raise all this land here, so I'm going to need some more foam for sure. So I'll get to that shortly. And this is what it looks like with the lights on. I actually, I added some lights here just this past week. It definitely looks a lot brighter and a lot better with the lights on, for sure. So you can actually see more. But with the lights off, regardless, I'll be able to put lights. I'm going to light up this building here and It'll look cool once it's dark all around, but the lights are just on. And I'm pretty happy with that. That building here, this whole paper mill kit is from my old layout. So I'm going to be utilizing it here in this place. And as you're coming along the main line here, if you're working the yard here, you can always switch this track so that you go in that way, because that's more like an industry siding there. So, or an industry lead, I think you would call it. I don't know, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. I just got to add a piece here, and then I'll be able to run this track off to here to have something there just to kind of continue that on. But I think it looks really good. It's definitely what I'm imagining it to be, so must be doing something right. And you can kind of see down here as well, the lights are on. You got the backdrop in place. A lot of stuff still laying around, so you'll have to disregard that. And I still have to raise up that too. But with the sky, yeah, you can kind of see here, that looks ugly, but that's all I had. So I'm going to be putting some buildings in front of that. You won't even be able to tell that that's there. And I'll show you all that stuff later, but been very, very busy. All right, so continuing on with things that I've done recently, you'll notice that there's a bit of a difference here in this turf that's along here. And then when you get to about here, so I did the static grass over this, and I went up, right up and around here. So the grass looks a lot more realistic now. And I did a bit more in the siding as well. And you'll notice, see, there's a couple of trees. It's not a lot. I definitely need a couple hundred more, but yeah, I'm gonna be doing some work in this area here. And like I said, I'm just sizing things up and taking a look to see what I can do, but plan on adding way more to that. In the spirit of doing backdrops, I added backdrops. So I was able to find some to do this complete side as well, which is great because this is going to be all hill with a lake going right through it there, and then over, you know, we've got the bridge going over top of it, and you're not going to see any of this tree line here. You're going to see all this cloud in the sky, but yeah, it's basically in these buildings here, not going to see any of that. It's all going to be hill, so blend it up real nice, and you probably won't even be able to tell that it's a couple of different sheets. Just wanted some to cover that up, get that background done so I can actually do some scenic stuff here, because that would be nice. It's something I'm still planning on doing, and as things become a little bit more permanent, then that's something that I'll be working on a lot. When I left you guys last month at the beginning of September, I had track and cork right up to here. Well, somewhere here, somewhere in around here. I can't remember where it was. But anyway, so the track and the cork ended. Might even be right there. That's probably where it ended. But I managed to get all this done, all the track and the cork, all the way up to the bridge. Now, as I said, Mark picked up these abutments for me and mentioned that he was going to, and he did. And I was able to get everything in place here, which is great. I raised up the land a little bit because I had some foam, so I have to fill all this over, right? But there's going to be water in here, and hopefully it looks good. I can't wait to do water. I'm really excited for that. And I had the fun of doing all this here, raising all this land right up to there. I got a switch machine in there and a switch machine in here. and they work. They're all attached to the board there. I just need to get a power cable for it, and that way it'll work independently. I actually have it running down. You can see that there's like a power block here. It's going to run down the back of the layout down to an electrical socket that's down here, and that's where the extension cable goes to. And the other cables for that, they run right along here. They do have the extensions to them, but I've got 2 more switches right here to switch off there, and then I'm going to add a siding here which goes all the way around, sorry if that makes you dizzy, to this switch. So it's almost like a runaround, because that switch right there where the SD75 is, it's going to go into the industry up over there. So you can kind of see the steel mill there. That's the entry and the exit for it right there. And the siding is like a bypass siding up here, which will go around there. I did continue this on. I put on one of the ground throws there. I'm going to put a switch machine there eventually when I pick them up. But for now, I was just able to grab some ground throws just so I can use the layout as is. And I was able to raise all this land here. So this is all going to be waterfront here. And the track's going to go up over and around. And that's going to be really fun to do because that's a very large area. I'm very excited to do water, so might as well. I'm going to do some rock face on this back section here to cover up all that and all that as well. So that'll be fun. Very interesting stuff, I'm sure. Lots of trees, and as you can see, the backdrop, it just works very well with that. And let's see a train run by. That'd be fun. And as if this past month wasn't busy enough, just relocating some of my cars, making space. I had some issues with one of my ground throws. I'm looking at this one here, where it wouldn't hang on to the actual switch. So now it works, but I had lots of issues with that one. It just wouldn't stay glued, and when it did stay glued, it came out of the little the throw arm. So it works now, it's good, but it was a huge challenge believe it or not, this past month to deal with. I do want to put a bridge, a car bridge going over this here. So I just this is a mock-up of what I plan to do, and it's gonna, I want it to kind of come down like this, and like a lot of this section will be blocked off, as you can see, like it'll continue over here. So I have to utilize this area here, and then maybe possibly fill all this area in here, despite the fact that I put a retaining wall there. You probably won't see it when I'm done, but yeah, I'm gonna have to probably fill most of this in here. So that's gonna, that's something. Let me know your thoughts on that, because very interested to see what you guys think. There is a bridge that you can cross right now where you go, it's in North Bay where the shop is, and it's technically right here. You can stand up there and look down and see all this stuff going on. So the trains do go underneath it. The main line goes underneath it and whatnot. 100% accurate as far as this. I mean, that's not right there, but I wanted to add that. That's, don't ask about that. But I do want a bridge here somehow. So that's just a mock-up for now, and I'm sure I'll figure that out at some other time. Other than that, Dave did come by this past month, and he wired this whole thing up here. So this all, like, I can do individual. Is my power on right now? My power's on right now. As you can see, my car lights went on, but so he added LEDs, and each one of these represents each one of these tracks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So technically, yeah, all these. No point in putting power somewhere if I'm not doing anything there. So if I do need to use this track here, I will power on track number 2. Right? Now there's power going through here. Perfect. And now it's allocating my power elsewhere because I don't need to have power going through here if I'm not doing anything there. Eventually, I'm going to do the same thing down here. I mean, I'll get Dave to do the same thing down here if I can con him into coming over again. But you'll also notice I didn't mention this on my last update, but I did this a couple of months ago. It's a spare piece I had. I'm sure I specifically had it for here, but I cut the contour, and obviously you can see I screwed it to it, and then I covered them over with plaster. I just got to paint it, whatnot, and I've got those installed there. But I can take all that out so that I can paint it, and then I will hot glue those little LEDs in. And then of course I'm going to do something here for my switch machines, because there's a bunch, you can see them all hanging down here. They will go on a little board right here. I'm going to turn this off. There we go. And then I've got a bunch of buttons that are on the underside here, so I'm going to either have to cut out of the fascia here or figure out how I can do a thing here. I've even got a button right here that is lit up, but it's because it's getting power for a switch back there. So that I'll have to, go into the corner there for that. Lots of little things. I have to rewire these not telephone poles, but the lamp posts and whatnot. Tiny, tiny things, very minuscule things. I've got a bunch of little lights, lamps and whatnot in here that need to be rewired on the underside, but tons of things that still need to happen. But I've just been so busy running trains and testing that the other things are being pushed to the back burner. So it is what it is, but I'm having lots of fun. Had a couple of guys over today, Bubs and Tristan, and we did run some trains. So I will include some clips of those, and of course some of the clips that I took of my trains running around as well.